Hey, Will.
Hey, Zach, can you hear me?
I got you.
Great. Okay. You still got me okay?
I do.
Okay. All right, let's give it just a couple of seconds here, let people dial in, and we'll get started talking about the airplane. You want to just give us a walk around for just a second here until people get dialed in?
Back up.
So, Zach, you guys have the new paint on here, huh?
Yep.
Did it just come out?
It came out on last Thursday. They have some vinyl applique here to create the shadowing for the mountain.
Oh, so they did use vinyl.
It will be used vinyl.
Okay, so did you do the first part with just paint, or did you use vinyl to create the mountains, that background silhouette?
Yeah, they put vinyl on here to cover up the polytone underneath, and then sprayed the black over, and then vinyl off to create that.
Okay, why don't we just go ahead and get started here, Zach, and we'll see how many people trickle in. So why don't you just take a second, tell us what's going on, kind of what the airplane's been through at this point, and what it's just finished.
So, as you can tell, it's been painted, so now they're installing the interior. The panel's already been installed. It's not fully wired up yet because we haven't installed the wings, but you can see it's in the process of having the interior panels put in. This plane had a kind of a special treatment done to it for the baggage area. Typically, this is exposed just aluminum, but we powder coated the whole interior. A little more durable. The engine is being built up right here, and it's almost ready to be installed.
What is that, Zach?
This is the engine for you. That's all built up and just about ready to be installed.
What model?
This is a Lycoming 363i. So it's a proprietary engine to Cub crafters, carbon fiber intake plenum, aluminum sump, lightweight mods to keep the weight out.
What's the horsepower on it?
It's 186 horsepower, fuel injected.
Okay, and it's driving a constant speed propeller, right?
Yep. The propeller is kind of a little bit of a secret. We'll keep that for a later video.
Okay, all right. So what else are we looking at here?
So I'll introduce Mason here, who's the assembly plant manager. He can go over a few things if people have questions. And then we also have Scott over here, who's our aviation manager.
Great.
So here's the panel.
So yeah, Mason, let me
Do you
just...
want to give him a rundown? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Do you want to give him a rundown of the panel, Scott?
Zach, can you put it a little closer to him? I can't quite hear.
It has an integrated GPS as well. So you actually have two GPS sources on this aircraft, one on the G3X. And you also have a GNC 355 GPS comm here. The GPS source is a WAS source, so that works with your transponder. So you do have ADSB out, so you can go fly around in your Class B airspace. Also touchscreen as well. In addition, we've got an autopilot, 3-axis autopilot. We also have the G5, the standby attitude indicator, which also gives you basically all your functions for navigation, airspeed, altitude, all that fun stuff. Standby battery. Geez, there's one thing I'm trying to remember that we also have in this aircraft. But, anyway, it's a very well-equipped aircraft. It'll be a blast to fly.
Some detail.
You broke up a little bit.
Zach, can you?
You're breaking up. For some reason, you're breaking up. I had you fine. Now you're broken.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions out there?
Zach, are you able to zoom in on that panel?
Yeah.
Okay, so can you point out one more time just what each component is for me?
Yeah. So this is your GPS comm, Garmin GNC 355, 305 dual axis autopilot, your Garmin G3X, and your backup attitude indicator is a G5.
So it's IFR certified then, is that right?
It's not IFR certified, it is IFR capable. So it's properly equipped to fly IFR operations, but not certified.
Okay, great, got it. Okay, so let's pop back out for a second. I just want to see that paint scheme again, and I want to talk a little bit about the process here. So can you walk us through what you've done so far with the paint and what you plan to do?
Yeah, so I'll let Mason answer some of those questions about the fabric and paint.
I didn't hear the question. What's the question?
He wants to know what we've done so far with the fabric and the paint.
So the fabric, so what we do is we do a lot of pre-cover work here before it gets to actual cover. When it goes to cover, we get everything prepped up, all the Londron tubes we scuff. We get the Bondo work where the transition is between the cheek and the composite stringer on the left-hand side. And then we get ready to pre-glue. So we use polytack, which is provided by polyfiber. We pre-tack all the joints that we need to. We wrap the fabric up there and revive it. And then we hit it with a 250 degrees to do the initial tightening. We then, after we get it all tightened, get all the wrinkles out, you do a final iron with 350. Once the 350 is completed, that's when you start laying your tapes and all your patches and grommets. And you use 225 degrees to help lay that down, and then you get ready for paint. Once you go to paint, we do about 6 coats of polybrush, actually 3 coats of polybrush, which is our pinking, is what we call it. That actually helps seal the weave, and then builds up ready for the foundation of poly spray. Poly spray, we sprayed about 9 coats on this one to get all the cosmetic issues. You got your hand work in the fabric. And you want to get all those blemishes out, so you apply more coats of poly spray on there, and then you get ready to do your first 3 coats of the polytone. After the polytone, that's when we come, like Zach mentioned, we put a Gerber mask for the mountains. We stripe that off, we get everything done so you don't have any like overspray that shoots out. We call them little trees. And then that's when we spray the black over the top of the poly spray. The reason why we chose not to do a vinyl mountain theme is this is about our 4th mountain scheme that we have done. This is not the most complex one we've done, so we felt very confident to actually give you a realistic view of the mountains. Now it's in station 7.
Okay, we got a quick comments. They want to know about ADSB In and Out.
Yeah, it is ADSB In and Out. You want to answer that, Scott?
What was the question?
They want to know about ADSB In and Out. Yes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we have WAS GPS with the GPS COM, the GNC 355.
355.
And then, yeah, that feeds ADSB out information to the transponder. So you're able to go out and fly in all the airspace that you want to.
And we put a 345 transponder in there to give you the ADSB In and Out.
Yep, absolutely. So you also get XM weather.
So we're able to
this
see that.
aircraft as well.
The weather, that main on the G3X.
I got to stand back. When I get in this area, it gets broken up. What's that, Will?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if it shows information on the G3X screen.
Yeah, the weather does come through on your G3X.
Okay.
And you can split the screen to have engine monitoring and weather and everything. It's splittable, so it can be full screen or half screen.
Can you talk a little bit about engine monitoring and what we're able to see? What are we monitoring?
So in the G3X, you can monitor individual CHT, EGT. You can also monitor your fuel flow. And there's also lean assist. So when leaning, it gives you your blue arc.
Okay, what about the autopilot system? How capable is that? You know, what sort of things would I be able to do with it? And what sort of things could I not do?
It's a 2-axis autopilot. It's a fully functional. It tracks heading, tracks nav. It will track approaches. You have a flight director as well. You have a wing leveling mode as well. Yeah, it's pretty fully featured. So pretty much what you would find in a standard aircraft. The only thing that you really don't have on this thing is a yaw damper. So no yaw servo.
Okay, what about the load, the useful load, max gross, that sort of thing?
So max gross weight is 2,000 pounds on this FX-3. Your useful load will be somewhere in the neighborhood of 850 pounds to 900 pounds, depending how it's equipped. I'm guessing this one will have about 850 pounds.
So when you went through the process of putting this together, this package, how important was weight to you, and what did you do to save weight?
So Jim's always said he doesn't count pounds, he doesn't count ounces, he counts grams. So all the weight saving features that you can think of, we've taken, using carbon fiber components where we can, lightening up the one thing I'll show you directly that impacts weight significantly we make is this oil sump here. This oil sump is stamped aluminum instead of cast aluminum. It saves 14 pounds off the engine. With the paint, the polytone here, leaving this exposed and not doing a silver or a urethane based paint saves 10 to 14 pounds depending on your paint scheme through the plane. But you can see the black is very, very shiny.
So I think for a lot of people tuning in today, Zach, this is probably the first time they've seen an FX-3 up close like this. Can you talk just a little bit about the features that make it an interesting aircraft and set it apart from its predecessors?
Yeah, so this right here is very unique to this aircraft, and it's been a complaint for every Cub owner that I can think of, is heat. So this is a rear duct heat that has its own exhaust muff pickup for rear seat heat. You also have front heat, and you also have, it's covered up, but there's a forced air defroster up here. So you have 3 heat zones. The heat in this plane is almost too good. You'll end up shutting it off in most situations. And this has a constant speed propeller as well. So you have your throttle and your prop handles here. Toe brakes instead of heel brakes. I know there's a debate going back and forth, which is better, which people prefer. It's covered up, but you can see right there, dual electronic ignition, light speed ignition, so there's no mags. It's all electronic ignition. And as I said before, it's fuel injected as well, so you don't have to worry about carbides. The cruise speed you'll see in this is anywhere
Off the top,
between 120 to 140 miles an hour.
Zach, can you talk a little bit more about those sort of specs, stall speed, etc.?
Stall speed, don't quote me on this because now you're putting me on the spot, but I believe it's right around 42 miles an hour is what's in the book.
Okay.
You can actually stall a little bit slower depending on conditions. Cruise speeds at 75% power, you'll see 120 to 140 true, depending on tire configuration, altitude, density, and all that. Real world numbers, max performance cruise, you can see 140 plus. Funny story, not in this specific airplane, but Brad was flying one of our X-Cubs and got picked up as a jet with a tailwind on radar. He had a ground speed over 200 miles an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
And the rest of your avionics will be up here. The backup radio and your audio panel. So this does have dual comm.
So talk to me a little bit about what.
About what?
Zach, can you talk a little bit about what's coming up next in the process?
Yeah, so the engine's prepped up. Once they get the interior panels in, the seats will start to go in. And then right now it kind of looks like it skipped leg day. It doesn't have any landing gear. The landing gear is up on the wall painted over there. It will go to this station where the landing gear starts getting put on. And this plane starts to look a little more complete with the interior panels in. And then it'll go over to Station 9 where it'll receive its engine and prop. And then it goes into Station 10 where it really looks like an airplane finally, where the wings get put on.
Okay, we have a couple of questions that have come up. Can you talk about what type of flaps it has?
So the flaps, they're aluminum riveted, and it's what we call the G-series flaps. It's a slotted flap, and it's a flying aileron. So the aileron is proud of the wing surface, which helps keep the stick input light at any airspeed. So a traditional Cub, the faster you go, the heavier your controls get. This is the same input at 50 miles an hour as it is 120 miles an hour.
Okay, and I've got another question here. Jim wants to know if there is an estimate as to what you would sell this airplane for if it was for sale.
A plane equipped like this is probably in the neighborhood of $360,000.
360. Okay. Okay, for those of you guys just tuning in right now, if you have questions, drop them in the comments. We're here with Zach Davidson. He's with Cub Crafters. looking at your FX-3. So if you have any questions, now's the time. This is a good chance to ask about your aircraft.
Most everybody probably doesn't want to see me. They probably want to
So
see the
Zach, are
plane.
there other things?
At least I'll introduce myself. I'm Zach.
So Zach, you've been with Cub Crafters for how long now?
It'll be 7 years in April. So by the time this plane's up at the Airmen show, I'll be here 7 years.
Okay. What's your experience been like? Do you must enjoy it? You've been there for a while.
Yeah, I love it. I've had 4 different job titles in those 7 years. I started out as a logistics guy for our service department, went into part sales, then I went into the Builder Assist program, and now I'm the Builder Assist program manager.
So can you talk with that about the quality of the production of this aircraft? Because one of the things that really struck me when we visited in the fall was just the fact that every piece and every part was manufactured, most of them were manufactured in-house, specifically for these aircraft. And that really impressed me. So I'm just curious, the time that you've been there, what's your opinion on quality?
The quality is phenomenal. It's hard to compare other planes. I can't go into other factories with brand new aircraft. But the attention to detail, the quality standards that we put in place just to get parts to pass, our quality is pretty intense. Most people that come through here when they're doing their build end up messing up a part, and they think it's okay, and I tell them, no, we have to throw that away. It won't pass quality. We either make another one, we'll have to make one for you. So the quality is top-notch, in my opinion. And that's right, we do make almost all the parts on the plane that is not landing gear, engine, avionics, prop. We make over 9,000 parts in-house. One thing you'll remember making, phenomenal. I can show you, is the bushings. Just leaving these bushings in-house.
Yep. So I'm looking at the paint right now, and it makes me wonder. We do a lot of flying up here off airport in gravel conditions. The propeller wash throws up a lot of gravel. It can hit the paint, chip things off. It's a beautiful airplane, but I imagine if somebody's going to win it, and if they happen to find themselves in Alaska, they might want to take it somewhere like that. And I'm wondering, is it difficult to repair that paint job?
So if you just chip the paint, it's not a difficult repair, especially the polytone. This you don't even have to tape off, just mask off for overspray, and shoot your area, and it'll blend really easy in just a little painter's touch-up brush. The black, same thing. It's a non-metallic, so it's much easier to touch up than a metallic. So unless it's a big area, you can just use a little paint dauber and touch it up, and it'll look just fine. Big areas, little different story. Patches, it's going to look like a patch no matter what you do.
So, yeah, speaking about damages, that sort of thing, one of the inherent risks, of course, of flying anywhere off of the airport system is that you find yourself breaking parts. And I'm just curious, the future owner of this airplane, if they land hard, or maybe they break a part of the landing. What's the process to get that part replaced?
We have a warranty manager. He's also in the kit program. We have a support line. You can email us, you can call us, and depending on the part, we could have it on the shelf, but it won't be in your color. We'll have to get it through paint, and then get it shipped out to you. And one thing that's nice is even though this is an EAB aircraft, it still comes with a 1-year factory warranty on any assembly and any manufactured parts by Cub Crafters. Compared to, say, a kit you build at home.
Okay, guys, I just want to give you one more. Facebook listeners, if you guys have questions for Zach, just tuning in now. He's been talking about the FX-3 that's a part of our 2022 raffle fundraiser in Alaska. So now's your chance. If you have those questions, put them in the comments and we'll get them asked here. We've talked about the paint today. We've talked about some features of the FX-3 that set it apart, the avionics, that sort of thing. But feel free if you have questions, post them now. Jack, you're gonna...
I lost you there.
Are you going to put this on bush wheels? Is that right?
Yeah, Alaska bush wheels, very similar to this here. You'll also be getting the Acme Pro or Acme.
Okay, oh, those are
Gen 3 shocks, Black Ops shocks.
So how come you use the Black Ops shock instead of standard traditional bungee setup?
It's just advanced technology. Your bungee is technology based when Cubs were first coming out. I mean, it was an advancement from just the first series that they put hydrosorbs in some of them, but the dampening and rebound capabilities of shocks, it's advanced just like the Cub. This is not a Super Cub. This is a rendition, newer technology, newer materials, stronger, lighter, faster. Same thing happens with everything else. Tires. I mean, bush wheels weren't a thing back then. The Acme shocks weren't a thing back then. And Acme shocks, they didn't start in aircraft. They started in the racing world.
All right, Zach, is there anything else you want to share with the viewers while we've got you here and talk about this beautiful airplane?
Stay tuned for the next video that we do. We'll unveil a prop. It's the first one, so.
Oh, here's an interesting question for you, and this might be, we might have to look into it, but for an in Canada registration, Jim is wondering if it would have to be registered as experimental or other classification. You know?
That's a good question. I believe it's experimental. I don't know. I'd have to check the CAA to find out for sure. We do sell builder assist planes to Canada, but it's done a little different. As you guys had to come here and participate in the build to complete 51% of the tasks, Canadian rules is a little different. You show up once when the fuselage is getting ready to be covered and the wings are built ready to be covered. You come here with a representative of the CAA, sign a little bit of paperwork, you leave, and then you come back for a final assembly, and that's when the airworthiness is issued. You don't participate in the build. But I know Carbon Cub SS, Top Cub, X Cub, FX2s, FX3s are in Canada.
Okay. Yeah, Jim, if you want to send me an email, my email address is just operation@alaskaairmen.org, and I'd be happy to answer that question for you. We'll figure it out.
I have a question for you, Will.
Okay, Jack, any last? Yeah, go ahead.
How long are ticket sales? When is the cutoff?
Well, cutoff is once we run out. So we have 14,000 total tickets. And to give you an idea, we had 14,000 last year. and they lasted almost up to the gathering, which is the very first week of May, the very first full weekend of May this year, which is the 6th, 7th, and 8th of May. So my recommendation for those of you who are interested is to purchase a ticket well before that date, because it is quite possible they will sell it. And they're going quickly this year, just like they were last year. We anticipate they'll skyrocket here shortly as well.
Very cool.
John wants to know how many tickets left. About 9,000. We're right on track.
Yeah, about 9,000 parts are made in-house.
Start out slow and then. Oh, sorry. We're talking about tickets there, Zach. So yeah, John's question.
Sorry,
we start out slow and we pick
a little
up.
broken up.
So we have 9,000, and then it goes up. Okay, Zach. Anything else you want to add here?
No. Thanks for joining, and stay tuned for the next video.
Okay, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time and taking us around the factory.
All right, we'll catch you later.
All right, take care. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate your time and hope you are excited.